When people died, the sins they couldn't pay for in life turned into light. In that world, people who have done wrong must become reapers and guide the dead until they have paid off all their bills and can be reborn. A girl with brown hair reads Kim Ji-ho's bill, which is more than 7.5 million won. The girl with brown hair told him that a new reaper could make as little as 10,000 won an hour, which covered food, transportation, housing, and extra pay. Kim Ji-ho could start his new job right away, but he still didn't believe that money could be used to pay for sins. Ji-ho was asked by the girl with brown hair if he knew about the system since capitalism was seen in the real world. As they both went down a road they didn't know, Ji-ho was confused and wondered where they were going. The girl with brown hair tells Ji-ho something important. The horrible Yiksha will come and grab him if he doesn't like working conditions and tries to run away instead of paying off his bills. At the same time, Moo-hyun, a captain of the Yiksha Corps, the future Reaper's unit for getting rid of evil spirits, caught and killed a bad Reaper. He suddenly showed up in the middle of the rotting wreckage and told them that the suspect had been caught. He also told them that the delay was because he had accidentally found an evil spirit's home. The girl with brown hair praised his hard work and asked him how he would like to be rewarded. The brown-haired girl tried to get Moo-hyun to ask for something else when he really wanted his light back. Ji-ho was shocked when he saw that Moo-hyun's arm had been cut off. He was scared, but Moo-hyun ignored him and told him that a Grim Reaper who got away would be put to death right away. The girl with brown hair agreed that as soon as someone got away, they were seen as evil souls and ran away from hell. When Moo-hyun asked for a gift, he said that nothing less than 1 million won would do. Ji-ho was shocked, but Moo-hyun told him that he should get at least that much money because if they were caught, it would be a big deal. What was he going to do to pay off his debts? The amazed girl with brown hair asked. Ji-ho pointed out Moo-hyun's missing arm to see if he was aware of what he had lost. He told them that he hated getting hurt, and his arm was better right away. The captain, Yiksha, then left, and the girl with brown hair said she would put cash that day. Is that strange, Moo-hyun and Yiksha? Ji-ho wondered as the girl with brown hair helped him take the unit. The girl easily agreed and told them that certain Grim Reapers were given power by Yiksha, the evil god, to hunt down evil spirits that had escaped from hell. Captain Moo-hyun had the greed skill. Word on the street was that he could quickly get whatever he wanted or said. Ji-ho was shocked that he was so good at cheating. If he wanted money, he could pay off his debts right away. That ability had limits, the girl with brown hair said with a laugh as she lit up a cigarette. She told him that the power would only work on things that Moo-hyun already had, like his body or inanimate items. Above all, they had to really want to avoid death in order to use that power. Before Ji-ho could say anything, he had a shocking realization. The girl with brown hair quickly read his mind and said that Moo-hyun might be more afraid of pain than death. At the same time, a worried Moo-hyun was standing in front of some hurt people who were sleeping together. Somehow, only Moo-hyun knew how painful that sight was, but his body couldn't die no matter how hard he tried. Even worse than being in pain himself, Moo-hyun couldn't stand it when someone important was in pain. Moo-hyun checked on someone who had been hurt to make sure they were still whole and that all of their innards were still working. He was glad to hear that everything was okay after a full checkup. Still, everyone got off work early that day, which didn't happen very often. Next, our boy looked at the clock, which showed that it was 2:45 a.m., and understood that he only had a few hours until he had to go back to work. It didn't matter that Moo-hyun got off work early. He was still tired. Since that happened all the time, he chose to take a short nap in this world instead of the afterlife. Our boy knew that the room was too crowded for 10 people to lie down as he tried to squeeze himself in between the sleeping women. Moo-hyun built the place where his co-workers were sleeping with very little money he had on hand. It was also used for treatment. Because the room was so crowded, Moo-hyun thought he should find a bigger one. As our son tried to fit in, he slipped and hurt his ankle. At the same time, the front door slowly squeaked, and a girl with red hair walked in. The girl with the red face was thrilled to see our boy, who was doing a funny cartwheel. The girl with red hair was told off by Moo-hyun for being too loud. She called her Kong Young. Our kid thought Kong Young had been drinking again. Kong Young felt bad about being caught and told him in a whisper that she couldn't wait to see him again after a few days. Kong Young was not sure if he was hungry. Our boy said he was going to hit the bed and rejected the offer. Kong Young was up so late that our boy didn't understand why. Kong Young showed him a plastic bag that said she was at a convenience store while she was drunk. Kong Young was on her usual drinking binge, but Kong Young couldn't sleep without a drink or two. Kong Young's bag was politely taken by Moo Hyun to help her drink less, but the woman was kind enough to offer him some food. When he took the bag from her, he saw that Kong Young's hand was red from being hit by the plastic bag. Our boy went crazy because he didn't want Kong Young to get hurt. Our boy held her hand right away and made it better. When Kong Young looked at her hand, she was fascinated. She then asked Moo Hyung why he thought getting hurt was worse than dying. She thought about how Moo Hyung used to dislike all of them. Our son said he didn't hate them, he just found them a little annoying. At first, Moo Hyung's job was already hard, but then he was told to train some younger employees, which made things even busier for him because the employees weren't paying attention. Kong Young said that being a yiksha meant being around the worst people in the world. Our boy couldn't even understand that sentence because he didn't know what sins he had done. Back in time 300 years, someone was talking about a bunch of beasts that were dressed as people and was brutally cutting those ghouls. The oppressor's plan was to wipe out their souls so they could never come back to life. One of them was Moo Hyun's soul, but he was lucky because he was the only one who could do one thing. Yiksha was a bad god with so much power that only a real evil person could use it. So, some of that evil power was given to Moo Hyun so that he could kill the demons that had gotten out of hell. Our boy would be able to come back to life once he had paid off all of his debts. But before that, they took all of his memories. As soon as Moo Hyun came back to life, he promised to do what he was told. Our boy was forced to be a yiksha without any thought or care, so he had no idea who he was or why he turned bad. Our boy was in that confused state for 100 years, full of only questions and pain. But then some souls joined him, and our boy had friends for the first time. He felt better when he leaned against someone for the first time after sleeping on the cold floor for a long time. They also started to follow him around like dogs, and even called him Captain. Those kids also gave him his name. Still, Moo Hyun had a harder time getting used to things than he thought he would. At the moment, he treats all of them with love, even Kong Young and his family. The angry man's statement moved the red-faced woman. At that time, our boy's goal was to be with his family and friends and sleep soundly without any fears. Our boy didn't want anyone to be sad because they were hungry or to say sorry for things they hadn't done. He only cared that his friends were safe. But it all seemed like an impossible dream, so he chose to pay off the bill right away to end his life of slavery. Moo Hyun was happy that he had become ageless no matter how hard he worked. He also always felt like he wasn't doing enough. But there was a strange glow around him, and Kong Young's voice could be heard saying that they had done something. Kong Young told him that they had all paid their bills. He did this with slightly red eyes and a smile. When Moo Hyun was shocked, he argued that they were all his family to him. But Kong Young told him not to say that on his last day on the job. Moo Hyun was confused because it all seemed so fake. Soon, our boy stood in front of the abyss of darkness, which was the last gate to rebirth. As he and his friends stood at the beautiful gap, he still couldn't believe that days like that existed. He had no idea that the Yiksha would forgive all of their sins. Soon, the great king of the Wheel of Law, who ruled over the depths of darkness in the 10 hells, showed up in front of them. Our boy thanked them all because they had kept the line between this world and the next by staying steady. Also, they stopped bad things from happening that would have hurt innocent people. Our boy was still looking at the ruler with his eyes and mouth wide open. That was not an endless farewell or a dream, but the ruler felt bad about sending all of those people off like that. It was time to give them all a new start. The leader chose to say goodbye until everything was ready for the ceremony. All of a sudden, a boy with only one eye asked Moo Hyun, who was feeling sleepy, if he wanted to do something important in his next life. Now, our boy had been so busy with day-to-day life that he had forgotten all about making plans for his next life. The boy with only one eye said in a dreamy voice that he wanted to be born again as an adult. It made the boy cry when he said that he wanted to be Moo Hyun's father in the next life to thank him for everything he had done for him. If they lived again, all of those kids would want to be his family because he had always treated them like his own. Moo Hyun was shocked enough not to believe what the one-eyed boy Suk lying said. He thought Suk might be lying, but who would lie on their last day? Kong Young said she wanted to be Suk's daughter in the next life, but Suk didn't like the idea of having a drunk daughter. Moo Hyun's friends were soon gibbering and jabbering when the master told them it was time to leave. Then he told Moo Hyun to take good care of them, and the Yukshas were erased from her mind. It was hard for our boy to erase their memories. He thought the king or queen was trying to erase their memories so that everyone could start over. Our son said that this wasn't what they had agreed to. The king made it clear that Moo Hyun and his team could not be replaced, which is why he chose to keep using them. Our boy screamed and yelled to say no. But the king laughed at him and told him that his life had been worse than a beast's, so he shouldn't be so rude about it. But Moo Hyun was desperate to know what he had done wrong in the past, because his memories kept getting erased. Soon, there was chaos everywhere, with violet rays and falling debris flying everywhere. But the master of the abyss shut them up with his magic, so there was peace and quiet. The abyss master had been telling the same story over and over again, though, so this wasn't the first time. All of a sudden, Moo Hyun wanted to end the lives of his slave children. He slowly tried to wake up, and the king wondered if it was greed's process of getting better that was bothersome. It was too late, though, and our boy was told not to hold on to too much bad stuff and to forget everything that happened in the past. But our boy quickly avoided the Abyss Master because he wanted to save his friends' lives and get back what they had lost, even if it meant risking death. It wouldn't bother Moo Hyun if he never came back to this evil world. He would happily spend his whole life doing this. Our boy thought about his happy friends and the fun times they had had together. He told them he would see them again in the next life. Soon, there was a lot of static and strange rays that knocked him to the ground. His memory was still there, though. Our boy was not sure if his ability had been turned back on. When someone finally called out to him, he was awake again. He looked around for his kids here and there. A strange man with glasses called him Greed and then turned around. However, Moo Hyun didn't recognize him, and the man thought that his memory wasn't fully back. The man said that Moo Hyun should only do what he was told since he had already been through that washing several times. The guy with glasses said that he was a friend of Moo Hyun's and that his name was Kim Soo-ho. He was the former director of the Grim Reapers and had put together the Yiksha team in the past. That's what Soo-ho thought. Our boy was here to get back what he had lost. He told him he was lucky because Moo Hyun was the only one who could do that one thing. In secret, though, Moo Hyun was wondering if his escape route was seen as an enemy, and it turned out that his memory was, luckily, still good. Our boy kept hearing from Director Soo that not knowing what to do was better than doing it, which was something Moo Hyun had been hearing over and over again for years. The man with the glasses was caught off guard when Moo Hyun attacked him fiercely. Our boy jumped on Soo and growled at him for being mean and wiping out his memory. Moo Hyun yelled in anger in the name of reincarnation. How many times has that crap cycle been repeated? Director Soo was hit hard by Moo Hyun, who thought that this time he would know what he had done wrong. Our angry boy asked Director Soo if he wanted to leave him and his co-workers with no responsibility. Then why did he make them in the first place? Director Soo felt bad about what Moo Hyun had to go through, but he insisted that he couldn't do anything because he was sent away in the middle of the story. Soo thought Moo Hyun was being mean, and he thought they didn't know much about each other. Soo begged Moo Hyun, who was very angry, to let go of his throat and let him tell her his story for once. According to Director Soo, this was an old story about Grim Reapers who ran away from their debts in the afterlife. Soo then asked Moo Hyun about the solution that the afterlife suggested. Moo Hyun knew that the problem was those Grim Reapers who had gotten away. They were evil spirits, and Yiksha was told to kill them. Soo agreed with our boy that people would die if they didn't do their job. What Soo said shocked everyone. The rule was made right after Moo Hyun was hired. When our boy learned that he had created the Yiksha, whose only job was to hunt down evil spirits, his eyes almost burst with surprise. Soo was sent away because he tried to stop that silly rule from being put in place. Also, since there was no one watching over the Yiksha, Director Soo was ruled by the Lord of Karma and Rebirth. Each time our boy paid back his debt, his memories began to fade. Soo also said that there weren't many Yiksha, but that runaway Grim Reapers kept showing up over and over again. Soo told them that they were both in trouble for now. Direct Soo insisted that he had no idea what Moo Hyun had been doing while he was stuck in this space abyss the whole time. Soo was taking too long, so Moo Hyun told him to get to the point because he wanted to know the plan to break the cycle. Before long, Director soon told everyone that this place was the mirror of deeds, the mirror that showed people's sins. One could remember everything about their past in the mirror. The man with the glasses thought that Moo-hyun knew that there were two ways to reincarnate, so he turned around to face him. Two ways were for the 10 kings to judge and for the bodhisattvas to forgive. Usually, when someone died, they went through the judgment of the 10 kings. To put it another way, before someone can reincarnate, they have to serve the full sentence that fits their sins. Bodhisattvas did, however, sometimes forgive people. This only happened to people who truly regretted their sins from a past life and showed that they were not the same evil person anymore. The second way gave people a new life without making them commit any more sins. But the path was blocked from the start for the Yiksha whose memories of what they did to change were erased. Sue told us that our boy, who would never get to see the reincarnation gate, would get a proposal from the Lord of Karma and Rebirth. Sue asked Moo-hyun to make a deal with him. If Moo-hyun did what he told him to do, Sue would give him back all of his memories from his past life. He could always ask the bodhisattvas to forgive him after remembering everything from his past life. Manager that made Sue wonder if Moo-hyun was interested in his past life, the kind of person he was, and how he got to be in that situation. However, Sue said that this is how our boy would finally be able to break this cycle. Still smart, Moo-hyun came up with a clever condition that Soon had to meet in order to remember his Yiksha team, his friends. Moo-hyun was alarmed by the fact that Sue was giving things some thought. But Sue said it was all a surprise, and he agreed because Moo-hyun loved his friends so much. Mi-hyun was lost in the thoughts of his beloved soldiers who looked up to him as their captain. They were a happy group. He thought back to how happy he was living with them and how he never hated them. When our boy ran at Soon, he did so violently and said that he would be fully responsible for his subordinates or else he wouldn't be their captain. He also said that being called Greed when his real name was Moo-hyun had been bothering him from the start. It was strange for Sue to see this, so she was confused. But then, out of the blue, a cute baby with a strange piece of paper showed up. It was said that the Yiksha captain, whose name would be Eui in the future, would follow the direction of the previous captain, whose name was Gap. It was written below that the compensation would come from remembering the 9 soldiers who died, except for Moo-hyun. Last, the contract had to be signed by both sides. There was a blinding flash of light and a force that felt like wind that almost blew them off their feet. A scared director soon tried to stop everything by saying that the contract wasn't valid, but it was too late when our boy's face lit up with a mysterious smile of victory. The background went from being dull and dark to bright and colorful in an instant. The area looked like a temple, and there were many revered pictures all over. Moo-hyun and the baby got to the new place. Sue was calling them a sneaky little snake for breaking the contract because she forgot that our boy was the only one who could do it. Next, Moo-hyun, who was bored, stood in front of the baby and thought about what he could do that wasn't babysit. But the strange baby talked like an old lady and told our boy that he was being rude to her because she had lived longer than him. When Moo-hyun gave her a piece of traditional Korean candy, the little grandmother licked her lips and bit it. Still, he didn't get the difference between what he was doing and babysitting. The spirit child, on the other hand, was happily eating the hard candy. A sign that said, "I'm glad you came, my lord," was found by our boy. The baby noticed that they looked like they were in a shrine for her. She breathed a sigh of relief. The two people got to that place as soon as the light from the contract was taken out. It looked like a religious group from the living world to Moo-hyun. It looked like the contract director Sue talked about had been carried out correctly. Our boy was still confused because he didn't know what to do next. It wasn't long before the followers heard that the young master they had been waiting for had finally arrived. A garish character with painted cheeks, a candy in his mouth, and cheap glasses over his non-existent eyes showed up out of nowhere. He was dressed in fancy robes and huge flower crowns, and his beach ball cap had a toy propeller on top of it. That's how the followers described the young Master James, whom they loved and admired so much. The baby turned purple with fear because she thought she was going to be the young master. Moo-hyun, on the other hand, found the whole thing funny and thought it was part of a cult. The little grandmother lost her temper and yelled at the top of her lungs, but Moo-hyun grabbed her tightly out of shame. All angry eyes were on our boy, making him feel a little scared like a monster had broken into their holy place. Moo-hyun felt bad about her sudden outburst and said she was sorry. She blamed the baby for everything. He told her angry followers that he would definitely punish her. The humans and the atmosphere in the shrine seemed strange to our boy. It looked like their eyes were not on the things around them. He knew that making them angry wasn't going to get him anything good. He suddenly heard a strange voice telling him that he was right in what he thought. When the voice kept ringing, telling the living about the afterlife, our boy looked all over the place, laughing out loud. Moo Hyung knew that voice of the Grim Reaper with the glasses, but he didn't know where it came from. Suddenly, the baby's blue eyes started to sparkle in a strange way. Director Soon's shadow showed up and said the little grandmother was his daughter and the mirror spirit. He told her that everything she saw would be reflected in the karmic mirror and that from now on, all of his orders would come through her. Our boy was told to raise his head by Director Soo. Then he told him to look 3 lines ahead and pointed out a Grim Reaper who had gotten away the day before. Director Soo spared his life because that girl with brown hair asked him not to be killed, and it looked like she had sent $1,000,000 just for that. Next, Soo said that the escapee had also run away from that day's post. He was spared again, but he ran away. This guy had a habit of running away over and over again. Soo told our boy to meet the escapee after the service was over and told him that catching the escapee would be his first job. Our boy was told not to restrain or kill the escapee, but only to keep them safe. Now Moo Hyun didn't care if he came across as weak or mean because all he had to do was finish the task at hand. Once he did that, the memories of his kids would come back to life, and he would do anything to get that. His eyes flashed in a creepy way. Soon, word spread that the bumpy clown would keep everyone clean and heal their souls. Soon, the Jack-in-the-Box started to hit his children and grandchildren with a wooden bowl to get rid of all the evil spirits. Those crazy people thought that getting a black eye or a bruised cheek was cleansing their souls. The foul play and disgusting displays of love from the followers were making our boy sick. To get through the crowd and reach his goal, poor Moo Hyun had no choice but to keep that happy face. When it was his turn, the gross clown spit thick saliva into the wooden bowl and sprayed it all over Moo Hyun, making him very sick. He made sure not to forget to curse that mean 4-eyed Grim Reaper. When our boy heard one crazy monkey say that the purification ceremony made his head feel clear and that the young master was truly miraculous, he wanted to kill himself. In a strange way, our boy admitted that someone did come to their senses after being hit with that sickly holy water. He didn't understand why those smart people were falling for such silly scams where a bottle of holy water was being sold for $1,000,000. That poor escapee had even fallen into that nasty trap, and the place he ran away to twice was just a cult. Director Soo told our boy to call out to that escapee as seeing Woo Jin. When Woo Jin turned around, he saw Moo Hyun right away, and his eyes lit up with fear. But Moo Hyun tried to calm him down by putting both hands up. He knew that the sheep would be scared of the shepherd dog. Woo Jin was sure that our boy wasn't here to kill him. Woo Jin featheringly told him that he wasn't scared of him and asked if he was here to send him back like the day before. The way he spoke made Moo Hyun angry, so he tried to calm him down. But he had to stop talking because of a sudden noise caused by some fiery purple waves. Woo Jin bravely said that the temple was where he belonged, and that only his family treated him like a person. He was ready to run away by saying that they all treated him like a slave. Then he ran as fast as he could while Moo Hyun screamed that Woo Jin was running away again. Director Soo told them to go after Woo Jin. Soon, our boy was running like crazy through the crowded areas, trying hard to get through them. He kept hearing Soo's voice telling him that from that point on, they would both die the same way. Soo told him that they would all lose their minds if he failed that task. Moo Hyun, who was angry, wasn't interested in those hollow threats. A heavy figure landed on top of a very angry Moo Hyun, who was still yelling at Soo to just tell him what to do. But a mysterious voice came from Little Grandma saying that the treatment of Grim Reapers should be improved by starting a labor union. According to Soo, this was the only way to stop the Grim Reapers from disappearing and getting away. But because he made that suggestion, he was sent away without a reason. When our boy ran through the crowd to grab the Reaper who had been separated, the voice said that the Yaksha had changed into the Lord of Karma and Rebirth's shepherd dogs, making it impossible for the Reapers to get back together. Keeping his attention on the running Reaper, our boy finally saw the bad guy and put his scaly hand on Woo Jin's coat. Just as our boy finally caught Woo Jin, a strange figure hung from the rope and stared at Moo Hyun with one eye covered in pieces of cloth everywhere else on his face. Our boy knew right away that the mummy-like figure was actually Suk because of the fiery red hair that was poking out from under the bandages. He screamed desperately, but there was no sign of recognition in that one wide-eyed look. All of a sudden, Suk attacked Mu Hyung.